Hi all, this is my game against P.Vas from round 4 of the Southend Open Congress, played on the weekend. P.Vas is rated around 2170, a rapidly improving junior. I was white, I played c4 and he played knight f6. Now after knight c3 he played e6, and I have been looking at various lines in this variation recently, mainly with e4 and then d5, but actually after e4 he played the very cheeky move e5, and it's got a lot of logic to it, and apparently it's theoretical. I've been looking at this variation in the post-mortem analysis area, and at the end of the tournament actually there was a group of us with Grandmaster John Ems who are giving this serious consideration. Black seems to be okay in a lot of variations, even losing this tempo. For example, knight f3, knight c6, and if, for example, d4, like this, then maybe bishop b4. So this could be a playable variation. I think Ems's recommendation was taking on c6 and just playing bishop d3 here. So maybe this is a good way of playing it. White has to be very careful about the dark squares not being dominated by black, because these two pawns on light squares and this central dark square is could be very important for black. I played quite passively in the game after spending a lot of thought for what was the best plan to do. I played actually a passive move d3. So after bishop c5, already I could see myself losing quite badly if I did a routine move here, such as g3, because I think black could just play like h5 and h4 later. If white ever plays h4, then knight g4 would be very good for black. So actually I decided to challenge the bishop immediately and accept even these double pawns, because at least the central d4 square would be healed up and I could use the f file potentially. He didn't take immediately, he actually played d6, just encouraging me to double his pawns. And I think there would be such a huge grip on d4 that this is unwise to take here. If take here, then d takes. Actually, Ribka thinks black's already better in this position. There's such a fantastic lock on this dark square on d4. This would be quite unpleasant for white. I think black could just maybe play h6, bishop e6, queen d7 and castle's queenside actually, with this nice backward pawn to target. So after bishop e3, actually d6, I played h3. Another kind of passive move, but I wanted to prevent knight g4 in a few variations. He played knight d7, and now after bishop e2, he played c6. I prepare actually to castle queenside now. I do queen t d2, and after a5, knight f3, he puts me off completely the idea of castling queenside now. He plays a4, and all of a sudden he's got ideas of queen a5 and a3. I think it was positionally difficult for me, these first few moves, and maybe this is a blunder a3. Ribka gives d4 here. I played a3, which allows bishop takes e3, and after f takes, knight c5. So I've got to worry now about this fork. I play another passive move, I play bishop d1. So he's really won the battle out of the opening in this game with this novel system. Here he castled, and now I castled kingside. I was hoping that maybe, you know, the dynamics on the f file might compensate for being positionally outdone so far. He can't quite yet play d5, because I think, for example, let's have a look. d5, c takes first, c takes, and now knight takes e5, because if d takes e4, now d4, and I think white's better according to Ribka, so that would be fine. So he prepares d5 actually, which is a good idea. He plays rook e8, but now I'll try and slow it down with rook c1, because if d5 now, this c5 knight will be a liability. I could just take on d5 and rook c5. So he plays b6 to secure that c5 knight, and now I play queen e2. So after d5 I would have now bishop c2, not having to take that pawn on d5 and just trying to keep the position secure. After d takes e4, d takes e4, my pawns are wretched, and he played now a slight weakening move for his king side. He played h6. Now when someone plays h6, they were actually indirectly weakening the f5 square, because g6 will be more difficult to play if a knight ever got to f5. This is an important point for later. I double rooks now on the semi-open f-file, understanding that my c4 pawn can be attacked various ways with either bishop a6 or bishop e6. So he chooses bishop a6, but now he's left the f5 square to be occupied with knight h4. So I was getting quite pleased with my position now. After knight cd7, a cautious move because he didn't want exchange sacrifices, I nab a pawn now, just bishop takes a4, and all of a sudden I'm much better here. So he plays queen c5, I protect the c4 pawn, and after rook a d8 I play bishop a2, so now I've got b4 to try and evict the queen, and white's perfectly doing fine here. After bishop b7, b4, he plays queen f8, and here I get a bit overexcited. I should have just played a cautious move. There's no need to be concerned about c5 from black because knight d5. Rybka recommends here just queen b2 with a clear advantage for white. So instead I let him back in the game with this pawn sacrifice, which I thought would be quite aggressive for this diagonal and this pin to be able to play knight g6. But it's not really that good. After b takes c5, I'm under pressure now on the queen side when I didn't need to be. Knight g6, queen d6. Now I play rook d1 because I had in mind queen c4 attacking f7, but he's got a perfectly adequate defence, or so I thought. After queen c7, I thought that if queen c4, he would have knight b6, and if queen takes c5, I actually thought knight fd7 was winning the queen. But here, it's not the case. Just bishop takes f7 according to Rybka, king h7, and now, apparently, my queen can escape via a5. I didn't see this variation. I just thought rook a8, actually. I didn't see the check, so much for my visualization. Now here, it's indicating rook takes d7. So this is why Rybka is amazing tactically. You can see all this stuff instantly. Anyway, so after queen c7, I actually played rook df1, preparing to reroute the knight to f5 and possibly an exchange sack on f6 if I can lure this knight away from d7. So after c takes b4, a takes b4, rook a8, I played bishop c4. And I was pleased when he played knight f6, because at least, you know, rook f6 is on now as an exchange sack to fracture black's pawns on the king side. I first play knight h4 though. After knight takes c4, queen takes c4. I'm not concerned about bishop a6 because of b5 and the pin on the c7 queen. He plays queen d7. I take the opportunity now to play rook takes f6. But black's better. You know, there's a defence we discovered after the game that after this knight f5, black could just have played king h7 followed by rook g8 and rook g6. He didn't know. He played a very bad move now, bishop a6, which allowed me b5. So I'm gaining my vital tempo to get back with the queen to e2 to g4 with a mating attack. After bishop takes b5, knight takes. He can't afford to play c takes. He touched his rook and he had to play that, and after knight d6, rook e6, queen e2, he was forced to resign. White's massively up and there's a mating threat, for example queen g4 to g7, etc. So it was a bit of a dramatic time scramble up to move 40 there, with blunders on both sides.